everybody, and welcome to another Manic Movie Moment. I'm Matt, and I'm here with Mike today, and we're going to go through a top 10 list today. And it happens to be a top 10 movie list for lots of movies that we like to watch, which is most notably the action movie genre. And Mike and I are going to talk about each of our favorite top 10, starting with 10 going down to 1, and we're just going to get going. And I don't know if you'd like to start, Mike, with your first pick.
Let me just preface this.
Okay.
I didn't pick action movies that were mostly science fiction or I don't know, movies where it wasn't mostly like realistic, like I picked mostly non-science fiction, mostly.
Right.
I just want to say that I didn't pick any stupid superhero movies or anything.
Right.
Although I love Iron Man, I didn't pick Iron Man.
Right. Okay. Right. That's fine. That's fair to say.
I also didn't pick movies that were mostly like adventures, like the Indiana Jones movies, or like Star Wars.
Right.
Although that's also mostly science fiction.
Right.
And well, science, just fiction.
Science fantasy is what some people would say.
Sure, but I didn't pick any of those.
Okay, well, that's fair. So if you want to start, go right ahead, and I will just follow your lead, because I think that there are a lot of great action movies out there that I think deserve a lot of recognition.
And I haven't seen all of them.
And yeah, I haven't seen all of them either. I mean, if you're talking about the ones on your list. But
I think you've seen all of these.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, I mean, you can go ahead. What's your number 10 for Mike? Mike's number 10.
Number 10, Taken.
You know what? I can actually agree with that 100%. And you know why that is? There was a point in that movie where when Liam Neeson, it completely broke the whole action movie stereotype with this one scene, and I totally, I applauded in the movie theater when I saw it for the first time.
Well, that's dumb, but go on.
And it was at the end when Liam Neeson finally gets to his daughter, and there's the guy who's bought her with a knife to her throat.
Yeah.
And there's a moment of pause, and I'm like, okay, here we go. It's the whole hostage situation thing. Something's going to happen. He's going to find a way to get it. And the guy goes to say something, and Liam Neeson just fucking shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just I've always wanted to see that in a action movie, because you always see that. It's like a stereotype, because there's always the hostage and, oh no, don't shoot or I'll kill her. It's like, he's got a knife and you've got a gun. Why don't you just shoot him in the head? And Taken was the first movie that I've ever seen just take that logic and actually apply it into a real movie.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah,
it felt real.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely it's one of those it's one of my favorite action movies too. But I don't think that I wouldn't. Yeah, it's probably in my top 10. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about these. I already have my number 10 in mind. But I mean, if you got anything else that says, I want you to talk about yours.
Okay, well, it was just good because Liam Neeson's old, and he kind of set a tone for older guys. He set a tone for himself in every movie he's done since. And Taken was good. Taken 2 was terrible. I didn't even see the third one because it was just it lost all the magic from the first movie.
Right.
And it just became another action film.
Right. The first one is always going to be the best one because it's got that. I don't know what it is. It's just got that charm where it's like, you don't have to be a young, spry dude to be an action hero. You can also be this weary, retired, whatever. I don't even remember what he was, special forces or something like that.
Some kind of spy or something.
Yeah,
Who
something
knows?
like that. And he became a bodyguard. And it's like, that's cool. That's an interesting, that makes for an interesting character, really. Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't got anything else to say about it,
that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, then my number 10 is, I would say it's an obscure one, but I mean, it's probably one of my favorites. I could watch this any day, anytime, no matter how I'm feeling. It's honestly one of the greatest action movies I've ever watched, and it's The Legend of the Drunken Master.
You know, I saw that when I was little.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever go back to it.
Really?
Yeah, I've wanted to watch it. I just haven't.
Oh my god. I mean, just the fight choreography in it alone is absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's so... Like, Jackie Chan... Any of Jackie Chan's movies, maybe except for his newer ones where he's, you know, obviously he's fucking older and now he's not able to move as fast as he did back in the day when he was, you know, doing Super Cop and stuff like that. But Legend of the Drunken Master is probably his, what's the word? Pièce de résistance. It's just so...
I don't speak Japanese.
It's just so... It's so well executed, and like some of the stunts in that movie are incredible. Like, I don't know what you remember from the movie, but there's actually a sequence where Jackie Chan falls into like this pit of hot coals and he's like crawling backwards across it. That's actually something that he did like for real. And it's incredible how he did it. And it's between that and the story is actually like, it's better than most Jackie Chan movies that have come out in the past couple of years. And I think that it's one of those rare instances where we have an action movie that isn't solely reliant on, you know, explosions and weaponry and stuff like that. It's all about, you know, fight skills and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think it's one of the best. Honestly, that's my number 10. So if you got yours for number 9, you go right ahead.
Number 9, Matt Damon in The Bourne Identity.
Oh, okay. Now that one I haven't seen in a while. I've seen, what was it? There's Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, and Bourne Ultimatum, right?
And don't forget The Bourne Legacy.
Oh, right.
Not starring
Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Yeah, so tell us what you think about that one.
I enjoyed it.
That's it?
Well, I thought it was good how it was different because you'd think the whole time that he was a good guy, and then you find out slowly that he was actually a bad guy. He was just an assassin.
Right.
Kill people. He wasn't a good guy, and then he turns out to be a good guy.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Plus, there was a lot of good... Matt Damon was good in it, and the girl was good in it, and the bad guy who was just really his boss.
Wasn't it Clive Owen who was the bad guy?
Clive Owen was in the movie in the end. This was before Clive Owen was Hugh Grant.
Right.
He played like another spy assassin type guy that was sent to kill Matt Damon.
Right.
But the bad guy was... what's his name?
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
I don't remember his name. Oh, I feel stupid now.
No, I mean...
It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can see his face. But the guy's great. He's been in a lot of good stuff. He's been good.
If you're talking about, like, the guy who's, like, in the agency that works for him, like, are you...
Yeah, the man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, the man from U.N.C.L.E. No, the fucking...
That brings me to my number 1. The man from U.N.C.L.E.
The man from U.N.C.L.E. More on that. I'm just going to stick an annotation to a review from that there, just so you guys will get a little bit of context.
Go watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, totally.
Watch the review. Don't watch the movie.
Watch the review. Yeah, watch our review, because that's...
Chris Cooper. That's his name.
Chris Cooper.
Chris Cooper. Love that guy. He was great in that movie.
Okay. I see what you're saying now.
But then he died in the movie, didn't he? He died at the end, so he's not in any of the other ones, and they just weren't as good. I didn't like the other ones as much because it was like, oh no, that organization's gone, but now there's a bigger organization, and now there's an even bigger organization.
Right. There's like Blackbriar, and then like
whatever. Yeah, they've a lot of cool names they thought of. That's real clever.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Okay.
You know what? I like the Jeremy Renner one more than I like the other two of those movies. Like, the fight scenes were good in the other two ones, but I didn't care anymore.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that one. And the Jeremy Renner one wasn't actually that bad. I actually like that one a lot.
I like Jeremy Renner.
That one was, he's a good actor.
I thought it was good that they didn't take Matt Damon back, or whatever happened there. He didn't come back for the movie.
Right.
It would have just been another one of those stupid movies.
Right, exactly.
All right, what's your number?
All right,
9?
my number 9 is, I'm gonna say, The Matrix. And I know that one's kind of leaning more towards science fiction.
I said my list wasn't
Oh,
science
right,
fiction
no.
based.
Well,
Your list
I'm just
can be.
kind of. I mean, I'm looking at the DVD collection, and I've kind of got a lot of others in my head right now. But
I really enjoy The Matrix.
The Matrix
great.
is definitely one of my favorites.
Another example of a movie where the first one is great, and then the second one's just trail off a cliff.
I mean, like it's kind of like the Bourne trilogy for me, where it's like I liked the first one the most, and then the other three I thought were okay. Like, I'll watch them if they're on. Like, they're not bad. They're just not. It's just not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the first Matrix was. It had a better story, just because it was, you know, Neo learning to become the one, and then that was before he could start flying around and stopping bullets and shit and becoming fucking Superman. So it was cool to see him go from being, you know, this average nobody to this superhero kind of crap. And I mean, I like that. And if they had just stuck with that one movie, that, I mean, it's still a classic, but for me, it's one of the best action movies of all time, because it's one of the few to this day that kind of stick to that structure that we're all familiar with, and that really kind of makes action movies really good, which is like, you know, there's a defined villain, which is Agent Smith, and what the hell's his name? Cypher? Isn't that his name? Like the one on the
I don't remember.
It's like the bald guy with the mustache. I don't even know the actor's name. He's always a dickhead in all the movies that he does.
He was their friend, and then he turned on him.
Because Agent Smith's like, I can plug you back in so you act like nothing ever happened and you didn't know the truth.
Which would be great. I would have done it too.
I mean, I suppose. But at
you
the
could
same
either
time,
live in this shithole of a ship and eat slop, or I remember the scene, they were in a restaurant inside the Matrix. Or you could live in this and you could be really rich and have a great life. Well, okay, I'll take that one. Option number 2.
That's what makes a good villain, though, is that, like, you can understand his perspective by basically saying, like, yeah, I would totally choose that too. Like, who wants to eat slop and live in a shithole for the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah.
It's understandable. That makes a good villain. So, Matrix is definitely my number 9. That's just my phone telling me that I got an email.
Oh, good.
So, on to number 8. Mike, what do you got for number 8?
My number 8 is The Terminator.
The Terminator, the very first one, huh?
The very first Terminator.
Yeah, you know, that was, I think, I don't know if this was a common thing for, like, people who've seen, like, the Terminator series as a whole, but, like, I remember I saw the second one before I saw the first one. I actually didn't see the first one until, like, years later, after I had seen the first one. Because the first one came out like the year I was born. And
that is too bad.
I mean, I didn't see the other one until like later, so I don't remember that one.
The second one came out the year we were born.
Right, that's what I mean. Did I
we're
say
not
the first
that
one?
old.
Oh, well,
I don't know if you did, but I thought you said the first.
I thought I said the second one, but if I did, well, I'll find out.
So you're telling me you've seen every film from the year you were born?
Not
every film.
Not every.
There's hundreds, maybe thousands of them.
Probably thousands of them. But I mean,
get real.
There's just you know, I'm not really sure if that was a thing. Like you saw the second one before the first one or whatever. No. But you know, that's how it happened for me. And then I saw
because I'm a purist. I watch things in order.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell us about what you think of this one.
Well, I loved it because the Terminator is just unstoppable. He rips his own face off, and it looked like garbage now, but I bet in 1984 it looked pretty badass.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, I don't know, I just liked... The Terminator was my favorite character of the movie.
Right.
Well, I didn't care about, what's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah Connor, or the dude.
And,
Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, yeah.
I really didn't care. Because he just, compared to the Terminator, he just seems so weak.
Right.
Which he's just a guy.
Right.
Which it makes sense, but the whole movie, I was like, how is this Terminator not killing them?
Right.
He's had so many chances to kill them, and every time they outsmart him. Yet he's supposed to be this unstoppable robot killer.
Right,
He doesn't do a very good job.
Yeah, that's
And then he can get crushed.
right. And then he gets crushed, and then the whole sequence of events to Terminator 2 starts up.
Yeah.
And Cyberdyne gets a hold of the damn arm and the microchip.
Great
So,
movie.
Yes, I agree. That's definitely one of the best.
Plus, the scene when he goes into the Terminator goes into the police station where they have Sarah Connor, and then he leaves, and then it comes back in with a truck.
The fucking truck, yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got his famous catchphrase.
Of course.
Since the fucking, I mean, they're beating it to death now.
Yeah.
But back then, it was just so badass because he's literally, I'll be back. It comes in and he just rams through the friggin' front door with the truck.
And now everything's, I'm back.
I'm back.
I told you I'd be back.
I told you I'd be back.
Yeah, we get it. Why don't you just stick
I'll
to I'll be back?
In a minute or two. Be right back. It's just, there's only so many variations you can do.
Eventually he's going to be so old on his deathbed, he's just going to be like, back. What'd you say, Arnold? What? What? I can't remember.
I was gonna say, like, at that point he's gonna be so old he's going to be like, my back. Just my back is killing me. So that's your number 8, Terminator, the very first Terminator.
That's right.
All right, on to mine. Let's see. For my number 8, now this is a tough one, but I'm gonna have to say Cinderella Man is my number 8 for top 10 action movies. I guess you could argue that it's more of a drama.
Yeah, I would argue that, but I'm not going to.
But I think, because when I think about those, I guess you could consider like most of the Rocky movies an action movie, because at least after the first one, it was like, they went all straight in, like all in with the boxing scenes and stuff like that. But for this one, I enjoy it because the fight scenes, at least in the boxing scenes, are extremely well done. And you care about the character of James Braddock, and it's a very touching movie, especially when he wins in the end. Spoiler alerts, by the way. The movie's like
spoiler
10
alerts
years
for a
old.
true story from 60 years ago.
Yeah, like more like 70, 80 years ago, I think. 1930 something. It was in the 30s. And
yeah, that was definitely 80 years ago. Okay, go on.
Well, whatever. The point is that it's a great movie, and maybe people are probably going to be like, oh, it's not an action movie. But I think that it certainly applies because of how well done the boxing scenes are done, and just the way the characters are. And the villain is kind of over the top from what I remember. He's, in real life.
It's Craig Bierko, man.
Huh?
It's Craig Bierko, man. He's great.
Well, like the character, what's his name? Something Bear.
Yeah, Max Bear.
Max Bear. Like, apparently he wasn't really as much of an over-the-top dickhead as he is in the movie. Like,
yeah, but it's a movie.
Right, I know.
It's not called real life.
Right. Well, when you say based on a true story, some people take it.
Yeah, and when you watch Fargo in the beginning, it says that too.
Oh, really? I've never seen Fargo.
And it's not. It's not a true story at all.
Oh, that's funny.
It's part of the movie that it says it's based on a true story.
Well, anyway, my number 8 is Cinderella Man.
Also, don't watch Fargo.
Really?
It's bad.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I've heard it was good, but anyway, on to number 7 for us, folks. Michael, why don't you take it over from
number
here?
7, Rambo, Part 3.
Part 3?
Or is it just called Rambo 3?
It's Rambo 3.
Rambo 3.
It's Rambo
I love it.
3.
I love it because it's real. It was stuff like that, not one guy going in and causing havoc, but it was based on what was really going on in Afghanistan at the time.
Right.
With the Russians and the Americans and old men going in, except he's not Liam Neeson, so he gets captured.
Right. What's his name?
Troutman.
Colonel Troutman.
Gets captured.
Right.
But then Rambo just goes in after being what was he, like a stick fighter in the beginning. He's fighting with 2 sticks in his hands.
Oh yeah,
beating the shit out of each other.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and then he wins the money and gives it to the Buddhist people or whatever the shit, and just great action.
It's definitely
one-man army type stuff. It's
definitely
great.
it's a badass movie.
Yeah,
and I remember this particular scene where he gets. And I just remember watching it with my dad and the both of us cringing so hard because, like, there was a part where he gets a bullet that just goes straight through him. And what he does is he puts gunpowder in it and he lights it and it instantly cauterizes the wound. And he's like,
That's real.
I mean, I was just
That's realistic, right?
It was realistic. I wasn't cringing.
Know if it's real or not.
I wasn't cringing because it was bad. I was cringing because it looked like it fucking hurt. Oh. Like, that was it just, that was one of the scenes in particular. That and when they were, like, running at, like, all the Russians in their tanks and their helicopters and shit. I think that was at least one of the things that happened in the movie. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Me too, but I loved it.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. That's one of the better Rambos.
Not Rambo.
Right.
Rambo.
Not Rambo. As in Rambo 4. Even though it's not 4, it's just Rambo.
Rambo.
Or it should have been John Rambo, for Christ's sake. At least that one would have made more sense.
Yeah, it definitely would have made more sense. Just put his name in the title.
Right.
John Rambo. What did he do? Well, he was the man from U.N.C.L.E.
He was the man from U.N.C.L.E. All right. On to my number 7. And for my number 7, I'm going to have to say Kill Bill Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kill Bill Part 1... I mean, aside from the fact, I like a lot of Tarantino's movies.
Sure.
They're phenomenal. I think that for the most part, most of them that I've seen have been really well done. And Kill Bill Volume 1, specifically, has a lot of really well-executed martial arts scenes. And, I mean, if you couldn't tell, I got a lot of movies in my top 10s with lots of martial arts. And also, the thing that I like about what Tarantino does with his movies, especially the Kill Bill movies, is he kind of pays tribute to, like, all of the older, like, martial arts movies that were done and back in the day, in the kind of, what was it, like the 70s and 60s era when martial arts movies were kind of a big deal. And they were, because, like, Enter the Dragon happened, and, like, Bruce Lee was a up-and-coming star and was getting, like, international fame. So then Kung Fu movies became, like, this big thing that China was just putting out, and there was a zillion of them, and they had, like, all these kind of B martial arts movies. And so Tarantino loves those movies, and so he kind of paid homage to them in a lot of the scenes that he's done. And not only that, but the ridiculous violence. It's just, I think it's really well done. And I also really like the Kill Bill movies. I think the story's great. What's his name? David Carradine. Great character. I mean, yeah, the character of David Carradine is great in the movie. And I enjoy it. I could watch it like all the time. I think it's probably one of the best. Definitely my number 7 for that one.
That was my number 11.
Oh, your number 11? Kill Bill number 1?
Just didn't make the list.
Oh, dang. Just short of it.
Yep. Sorry.
All right. Well, that's okay, because we're moving on to number 6 anyway. And what do you have for number 6, Michael?
Number 6 is Die Hard.
Oh, okay.
Starring Bruce Willis.
Willis.
It was good. He's in a building, and he's got to kill his way out. Essentially, while saving people's lives. And Alan Rickman is one of my favorite villains ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he drops him off a building.
Yeah, I remember that. Doesn't his brother, played by Jeremy Irons, come back in one of the sequels?
Yeah, in the third one.
In the third one?
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Also starring the motherfucker, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, like, I still have to see all of them. The last
one was garbage.
Yeah,
Do not
I think
watch
I saw that. I saw that with my dad. Or no, I think I saw it with a friend in Boston, and I saw it for free.
They really needed to stop after the third one.
Yeah, they were not good. At least that one was not good.
The fourth one was decent, but as a movie, but not really as a Die Hard movie.
What was that one? Live Free or Die Hard? That was number 4?
Yeah, that was number 4.
Okay.
But it basically redefined shit. It's one of the movies that Sylvester Stallone hates so much.
Die Hard?
Yeah, because it made smaller guys like Bruce Willis, who's still a muscular guy, just not steroid strong.
Right.
It made him a viable star in action films.
That's true. That and, I mean, it was that and then Michael Keaton in Batman.
Michael Keaton in Batman.
Because that was the thing that really kind of changed the way they looked at action movies, because those were so successful.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, now, like, I bet you, like, especially with what happened with, like, when Michael Keaton was cast and he was just best known for Mr. Mom, and people were like, what? Fucking Mr. Mom's gonna be fucking Batman? That's bullshit. This movie's gonna suck.
Yeah, but Michael Keaton was a great Batman.
Right, and he was a great Batman, as well as a great Birdman, but we're not gonna get into that.
No.
So that's your number 6?
Yeah.
Number 6 for Die Hard. Okay. Let's see. I gotta take a look over here and refresh my memory, because there are so many that I think should be mentioned, but I've forgotten. Oh, okay. Definitely number 6. It would be The Fugitive with Harrison Ford.
Sure.
I definitely, I guess just simply by the idea, like, I really like characters or movies about characters that are put in situations where they have to be placed out of their element. Like, I mean, Harrison Ford plays a doctor who is framed for killing his wife. He knows he didn't kill his wife. And I think right off the bat, you already know that he's innocent, and it's just everybody else is the one that needs convincing.
Well, M. Night Shyamalan was the original director of that movie, and
God.
he was going to twist it in the end that he did kill his wife, but then it was a double twist that he was actually dead the entire movie.
Oh, okay.
Everyone died the entire movie.
Oh, nice.
And Tommy Lee Jones woke up from a dream that he had killed everyone, but he was in fact dead himself.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like it would have been a horrible one. It would not have made my top 10.
Oh, it would have been number 1 on your top 10.
Oh, okay. Definitely, because it's M. Night Shyamalan, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So, yeah, and I mean, you already know that, like, he's innocent, and it takes the rest of the movie for everybody else to kind of figure out that he's innocent while he's trying to prove his innocence. And it's just a fun movie to watch, and it's very well paced. It's not, you don't get bored, really. It kind of just keeps moving. It's like one of those few movies where once it gets going, it doesn't stop until it stops. Really, it's literally just before the credits roll. You just kind of, you're still tense, and it's a fun experience to watch.
Yeah,
honestly.
great movie there. Terrible sequel.
Oh, what was it? U.S. Marshals?
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't remember much about that one. I just remember that Robert Downey Jr. was in it, and he was an idiot.
Yeah, he was the surprise bad guy.
Right.
And surprise, Wesley Snipes isn't the bad guy.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, like you said, another example of a good first movie, shitty sequel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's my number 6, so we're gonna have to move on to number 5.
My number 5 is Die Hard 2.
Really? So another Die Hard, huh?
Everyone hates this movie. I love this movie.
Really?
I've watched this movie over and over and over again.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's funny.
I enjoyed it more than the first one.
Well, why do people hate the second one? Do you know?
I don't know.
Really? People just don't like it?
People don't like it. I think the villain is great. The jokes are good. He stabs someone in the eye with an icicle and to kill them, which is insane. They crash a plane with like 100 people on it.
Right.
It's great.
Dang. Well, I haven't seen all of them, so I can't agree or disagree, but I can certainly say that if you like it that much, I'm definitely going to have to check it out sooner than later. And I can't even believe it's typical when it's just typical when something that you like a lot, somebody really like hates it, you know. So it always seems to be the case with some movies that you find to be particularly great. So that's it. That's it for you. That's all you had to say.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially,
yeah.
Fair enough. Well, then, if we're gonna go, we're gonna get to my number 5.
Oh wait, no. Fred Dalton Thompson is in it.
Uh huh.
Before he turned into an asshole politician, and he's actually really good.
Oh, really?
And the guy from NYPD Blue is in it, and he's really good too.
Okay.
And what's his name? The guy who played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey's in it.
Oh,
and he's
Bill
really
Sadler.
Good. Yeah, Bill Sadler, and the guy from. Oh, he's been in a million things. He was in Coming to America as the owner of McDowell's. That guy's excellent in it.
Oh, okay. Great. So it just sounds like it's got a great cast.
Oh, it's got a great cast. Great everything.
That's funny.
Loved it.
All right. Cool. Okay. For my number 5, I'm definitely going to have to say True Lies. I love True Lies. That is just... I don't know what it is. I mean, it's definitely one of those cross-genre action movies where it's kind of like an action comedy because of the whole like, oh, my wife doesn't know I'm a super secret agent spy man, and it's. I think it's.
Yeah, don't you love that song? Super secret agent spy man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love Arnold. I mean, who doesn't love Arnold? He's just a fun actor. No matter what you really think about his ability, he definitely knows how to make a good action movie, especially when him and Jim Cameron get together and they do something, because it was True Lies and Terminator that kind of, or at least both the first two Terminators were really, really good. And Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, I've always said it. She's actually really good looking in that movie.
Sure.
Especially with the striptease scene, which is just damn. Like, you know, you see her now. I think the first time I'd ever seen her in a movie was in the Lindsay Lohan Freaky Friday.
Sure, yeah.
From like
that's my number 1 on this list.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Well, spoilers for people who are just tuning in or something like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you're just tuning in, start over.
Yeah, you should probably.
Why are you just tuning in?
Yeah, you should probably just start over. So, and seeing her in that movie, it's just like, wow, looks really good.
Everyone was young once.
Right. Well,
but
obviously.
Not everyone is young anymore.
Right. Fair enough.
All right, I have to say 2 things that I loved about that movie.
Okay, go for it.
I love the action. I liked the movie. It was great. 2 people in the movie really made it for me.
Mm-hmm.
The first was Tom Arnold. They played off each other so great. They're driving in their car. They pull over, and they're outside like bickering back and forth. Arnie punches the window to the car, and it shatters because he's so annoyed at what Tom Arnold is saying.
Give me the goddamn page.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
The way that they played off each other was perfect. The second person who really made it for me, do you know who I'm going to say?
I think I do.
Bill Paxton.
He's the guy who's like pretending to
be a spy.
Right.
He was perfect in that movie.
That was really funny.
He pissed himself.
Yeah.
They were going to pretend to push him off the thing, and then he pissed himself.
Right. That was actually really good. I forgot that he was in that.
He was perfect.
That was a really well done scene.
Yeah.
Just that whole thing. I love that. Give me the goddamn page, and it just shatters like it's nothing. I love it. So funny.
What brought the movie down for me? Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston was. Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
He played the boss, and he had
that's right.
An eye patch. It was too over the top for me.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Charlton Heston, but not that role.
I can definitely say that I didn't really remember his performance all that well. So obviously, it didn't really make much of a difference to me.
Also, brought it down. The daughter.
Yeah.
Just annoying.
Yeah, definitely that. And I mean, I don't remember much of a villain for that movie. It was definitely
I think the villain was secondary.
Yeah. It was
secondary to him trying to hide everything from his wife.
Yeah, that was pretty much what was going on with that one.
Yeah, he was just like a generic terrorist guy.
Right.
He wants bombs and stuff.
But I think what you said, the chemistry with him and Tom Arnold, the whole stuff with Bill Paxton, and the action sequences in general.
Oh,
I love the part where it's like, Yeah, or was it I'm going to kill you? Or
Yeah,
whatever.
when he's on the drugs.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. And then he's like, oh, well, really? How are you going to do that? And it's like, because I just unlocked these handcuffs. So good. Just, it's classic. All right. Well, now that that's number 5, we're getting to the top 5 greatest action movies of all time.
Now we're on the top 4.
So we're on the top 4. This is going to be number 4.
The top 4, everyone. Isn't that the most important? Top 4.
Right, top 4. So, Mike, why don't you kick off the top 4?
My top 4 is probably one of your higher ones.
Oh, really?
The Terminator 2.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know if I would say that's a higher one, but
well,
it's definitely up there.
I think this movie speaks for itself.
Right.
And how near perfect it is.
There's not much that can be said that hasn't already been said about this movie.
It really is near perfect.
There's already been people who've been saying that it's like one of the greatest action movies.
Well, I'll give it this.
Made.
It is just action movies, not sci-fi or anything like that.
Right.
It's the best sequel ever.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Ever.
Like, I don't think, like, especially just because of the way sequels are these days, like, the first one happens, and then it's, like, really good, and people like it, it's a hit. They make a sequel, and it's, like, underwhelming by comparison. But this is one of these very, very rare cases where the sequel is just so much, like, it's an improvement upon what the first one started.
Plus, the good guy dies in the first movie.
Right.
He's dead.
Right. Exactly.
Did people think after watching the first one that there was going to be a second one? They're leaving the theater like, oh, I can't wait for the second one of that.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
The good guy is dead. The bad guy is dead.
Right.
The girl drives off into the sunset.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow, there's definitely going to be a number 2.
I know. So there's that, and it was I guess just because it was a hit, it was such a hit that, you know, Cameron finally had the idea, or I'm pretty sure that they were just like, wow, this made us some serious money. Here's like $100 million. Let's make a sequel. And James Cameron's like, all right, this is how I probably should have made the first one, and just did it for the sequel, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. Plus, you know, Robert Patrick's T-1000.
Oh, excellent villain.
Really good.
Excellent.
Really good.
Scary
villain.
as shit.
Oh yeah, I remember
his face is scary
of him. Just the whole fact that he could like transform into anybody. I remember the scene that scared me the most.
Was it the scene with the mom on the phone?
Yeah, it was the scene with the mom on the phone, and she just
like Wolfie's all right, sweetheart.
Wolfie's all. I love that.
Wolfie.
That was a great scene because just thinking about it, because like the dog's barking and shit. And Arnie's like, what's the dog's name? And he's like, Max, or something like that. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I can hear Wolfie in the background. Is he okay? And I'm like, you got it. You got him right there. Because that Terminator doesn't know.
It's good to know that both Terminators are pretending to be somebody else. They're having a phone conversation pretending to be somebody else.
Yeah. And it works so great. It's just like, just taking like simple pieces from this movie is just, you can just already tell that it's just, there was a lot of thought put into it. Like the whole sequence with John basically like, you can't kill people, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, and he finds out that the Terminator takes orders, and then they go and they break into that place, and he just shoots the guy in his knees.
Yeah.
You fucking asshole! What did you do that for? He'll live. So good.
Like the tiniest characters, like the one orderly who licks Sarah's face. Disgusting.
Yeah,
but like that was so good.
Asshole is just like, yeah. It gives you an idea of like the kind of situation that she's in because people think she's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Oh, another great character, the psychiatrist.
Right.
Who's like, well, Sarah, you told us before that you think these robots are going to come and kill everyone, and now you're just telling us the exact opposite. Yeah. It's like you're telling us what we want to hear.
It's like, it's exactly like, I mean, at that point, I'd be like, well, what the fuck do you want me to say?
Yeah.
You want me to just fucking reach into my pants and pull out a shit and just smear it all over my face? Jesus Christ.
Why do you? That's nasty. Don't say that.
It is nasty, but I thought it would be funny.
All right, okay. What's your number 4?
My number 4. Well, I have to kind of think about this one, but it's definitely going to have to be the first Transporter.
Okay.
Definitely the first transporter would be my number one. Or my number one. My number 4. We're skipping all the way to number 1, folks.
Number 1, 4.
I mean, I like... I think it was the first one that had the Asian chick, right? That was
the Asian chick and the Asian people in the truck.
Right. So there was that, and I don't know.
The fight scene when he lubes himself up with all the oil that's on the ground,
right?
And they fight in oil. That's great. And then you go to the second one, and there's guys with swords who, if they just all attacked him and just cut him at once, he would die. But they're just standing in the back flailing swords around. You can't go this way. This is the edge of the fight. You can't come. I'm flailing my arms around. I know you can't see it, but it's good for a podcast, right? Flailing arms around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Plus, the driving scenes were good, unlike the other ones. Just totally unrealistic. He flips the car over because there's a bomb on the bottom, and a hook takes the bomb off. There's none of that shit in the first one, was there?
It was pretty much like, I don't remember that from the first one. I'm pretty sure it was a lot more simplistic in the first one.
What was he, like an Interpol guy? The older guy chasing him? Whatever the hell he was.
His French friend or whatever? Or are you thinking of somebody else?
He was the guy sent to try to catch him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Because remember he walks... Maybe I'm mixing parts up, but he walks in and the car was all beat up. Right. And then he was like, what's going on with the car? And then she takes credit for it, saying that was my car.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
That was good. And then the second one, they're friends now. He knows he does these criminal activities, but now he's going to help him.
Right.
Fuck you.
Exactly. I don't think they ever really explained their history together either. They were just kind of like, oh, we're friends.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, you come to my house and whatever, we get drunk and shit, whatnot. I don't fucking know. Yeah. It's just whatever. But yeah, you pretty much summed up everything that I.
It was a good movie.
It is a good movie. It's definitely my number 4 for that one. So with that said, let's move on over to number 3.
With that said, this is a little different because I can't really think of this movie without thinking of all of the other ones. And I haven't seen the newest one, or probably a few. I think they made a few in the 2000s. Mm-hmm. But this dates back to the 80s. Mm-hmm. Police Story. Basically all of them is my number 3.
Oh, so it's a tie between all the police stories.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first one was great. The second one was great. The third one was great. Was the fourth one great? I don't know if I saw that one.
There was one. Okay, so there's Police Story 1 and 2, and then Police Story 3 is called Super Cop.
Right, which was great.
America, which is also really good. And then there was one called New Police Story.
Right. And then they just came out with one.
They had like a remake.
Like really recently. Yeah. Which I obviously have not seen.
I haven't seen it, and it doesn't really look anything like what the other ones were. Yeah. It actually looks more like an Asian Godfather to me. At least because I saw the previews of it, and I was like, this doesn't look like the same kind of police story I'm already familiar with.
Just the action, the fight, and everything, it's flawless to me. The fighting is just so real.
The fight scenes, okay, I think one of my favorite ones. I guess if we're gonna have to do that, if we're gonna talk about Police Story, we might as well talk about some of the best fight scenes in those. Because my favorite is the playground one in the second one, where he's fighting all the bad guys in the playground, and he's using the playground to beat up. He's using the swings and shit, and the merry-go-round and the slide, and it's the coolest. It's one of the best fight choreography I've ever seen in a movie ever. I don't think there's anything else that compare. I think even Drunken Master is probably not something that comes anywhere close to the choreography in Police Story. Those movies are phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I mean they're fun movies. I mean, you don't watch them for the story so much as you do for the fights, but I mean the story's simple and it's easy to follow.
Well, I love it so much that if it were in English originally, I think it would take away from it.
Really?
Looking at their mouths and seeing them saying different things, but different, we hear different things.
Right, yeah.
It's part of it.
Right,
and it's great.
And I think that comes with the part of the charm.
Sure.
With it is just that it's all I mean, you like the character of Jackie. I mean, he's not called Jackie in the movie, is he? I don't think he is.
I thought his name was Kevin.
I don't know. I know that they call him Jackie in Super Cop. I know that.
Yeah, I think he was Kevin in the first two, and then Jackie.
And then he just became Jackie.
Like, was her name Kevin or Jackie in the other ones? His
name's Kevin Jackie. Oh, jeez. So wow, okay. That one, I actually kind of forgot about those. I was thinking about like some other really good Jackie Chan movies that I wanted to include.
Don't you dare say Rush Hour.
Oh no, I wasn't even.
Don't you dare
close
say
to
Rush Hour
Rush
2.
Hour,
Don't you dare say Rush Hour 3.
No, that would be blasphemy. Let's not even get into Rush Hour 3. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right, your number 3.
My number 3. Now, I guess if anything, I mean, there's as you know, there's just a lot of action movies out there that obviously could deserve this spot, and I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to basically which ones out of all these ones that I'm looking at up here.
Well, you're really leading up to this. It better be good, or I'm going to be let down.
Oh, well, the basically it was a tough decision, mostly because I would have put this higher on the list. But I think that there are some that are...
Jesus, just stop building it up. Just do it.
I think that there's some that work better for the number 1 and 2 spots. But definitely my number 3 is Commando.
Okay.
Commando is just... I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic 80s action movie. It features one of the biggest stars at the time. I mean, whether you like him as an actor or not, Arnold is just... He's charming. He's fun to watch, and it's probably one of the most quotable movies in Arnie's film history. Honestly, like, remember when I told you I was going to kill you last? Yes, that's right, Matrix, you did. I lied, and he just fucking lets him go. And then there's like, lay off some steam, Bennett, and other crap like that. It's please don't disturb my friend. He is dead tired. It's like that's just out of like 25% of the movie. 3 quotes just out of that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, did you leave anything for us? Just bodies. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was one time where we just had a movie marathon. You and I were just drinking beers, and we were just like, we were talking movies like we always do, and we're just like, we gotta fucking watch Commando. Just fucking because it's Commando. And it holds a special place in my heart because it's a charming movie. It's really just...
It has one of the best endings ever. When the guy says, "Oh, until next time," and he just looks at him, he's like, "No chance."
Yeah.
No chance of a sequel. Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect
it's
ending.
great. Like that's a rarity with a lot of movies that have either become successful or become like cult phenomenons and crap like that. Although hopefully, Arnie doesn't watch Commando again and he's like, I could do a sequel. Like, that would just be like, come on. Now we know you're not even trying. You're just trying to just... It's like... basically, like, what happened with the last Terminator was just like... It was a big nostalgia trip. Like, oh, you remember these things that happened in the other movies?
Yeah.
Like, look, we're doing it again, only this time it's cooler and slicker.
Yeah, these people, you like them, so we're going to put them in the same exact situations as you've already seen.
Right.
Thanks for your money.
So, that sums up Terminator Genesis, by the way, folks. So, yeah, I would say that Commando is my number 3. Definitely the third best action movie, in my opinion. At least on my list. But
Sure.
Now we got 2 more left, so we might as well get started with your number 2.
Number 2 is First Blood.
First Blood. Oh.
First Blood. As many people know, it has Rambo!
Rambo!
The first one, Rambo! It's called First Blood.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to remember.
Yeah, it's not.
Except the second one is hard to remember, Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is a little...
And then Rambo 3 just simplifies it and says, fuck it, Rambo 3.
Right.
Alright, I love the first one. I hated the second one. Obviously, number 3 was number 7 on this list.
Yes.
Hated the second one. The only part I liked about the second one is at the end when he's got the machine gun and he's just shooting up everything. He shoots the Coke machine. He shoots the lights in the office.
He almost kills... he doesn't kill Murdoch, right?
No, I don't
remember
think
him
he
killing
does.
Murdoch.
I don't think he kills him.
Because I remember that when they like leave him behind and crap like that, and the Russians are torturing him, and then finally they get a hold of him. And he's like, "I'm coming for you, Murdoch."
Yeah,
crap like that.
I'm gonna shoot your office up, Murdoch.
Yeah, pretty much.
The first one is just so great because he barely says anything the entire movie, and then at the end he's got a great monologue.
Right. I think that was a part of like because it was just it's actually if you think about it, it's a really powerful movie because he's a Vietnam vet, and I mean this is the 80s, so this is probably like way past that time when this kind of crap was happening. Although I don't know, maybe it was Cold War stuff.
When did this come out? 1980.
84, I think.
Oh, I think it was
83.
before that.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up.
I mean, while Mike's looking that up, I'm just going to say that, like, you know, it's really powerful because, you know, I know that in the movie they were talking about Nam and crap like that, and, you know, the whole premise, or at least the beginning of the movie, you're trying to figure out, like, Rambo's trying to find all of his buddies from his team because he's a Green Beret, yeah, he's a Green Beret, right?
He was.
Yeah, he was a Green Beret. And he's trying to find all of his team members, and they all died of, like, some sort of ailment or injury or something.
I think they were supposed to have died from Agent Orange.
Agent Orange?
Agent Orange.
Is that like the...
deforestation chemical they used.
Okay. So, like, yeah. So that one... Because I remember in the beginning, like, he's visiting somebody. Like, I think it was the black dude. I don't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, the black dude.
I know that he was the bigger...
I know him as the black dude.
Well, I don't remember the name. I just know that
you may remember the black dude from such films as...
The Black Dude, the movie.
All right, let me just say this. The movie came out in 1982.
Okay.
The Vietnam War ended in 1975. It makes sense that he'd just be drifting around for a few years.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, yeah, okay. So I can see that. But basically, he's right, like you said, he's drifting, and then he just comes across this one town, and out of nowhere, this chief of police just comes up, and he's like, "We don't want you here."
Well, it's kind of odd to think if he's been just moving around from town to town for 7 years, at least 7 years, because he might have left before, I forget.
Right.
But he didn't come across an asshole in a town like this before?
I guess you could say that.
7 years worth of towns, and he didn't... One asshole didn't... Maybe he did, but he, instead of not killing anyone or killed one person, he killed all of them, and the whole town is dead.
Well, I think... Well, like you said, like, his monologue at the end was great, and, like... He was talking a lot about stuff where he's like, "You think I like that, being called like a baby killer and crap like that?" Like, I think that, like, he probably ran into similar situations, but I think this one time when he runs into this guy, who's a total dick, by the way.
Well, they drew first blood, too.
Yeah, they did.
Don't forget that.
They shot at him. Or what was it? That one dude in the helicopter shoots at him first.
Yeah, that's the only death in the whole movie. He throws a rock at the helicopter, guy falls out and dies.
Yep.
He doesn't. It's not like in Hot Shots Part 2 when he's just got the gun and he's not even shooting and the body count is going up.
Yeah,
that's basically Rambo Free, which I also love. He's just shooting people, shooting from the hip with a machine gun. He's probably not hitting anything.
Right.
The body count just going way sky high.
Yeah. So I mean, like, just that in general, like, I think that whole it was just very powerful because, you know, he's not doing anything. He's just. He could have just stayed for a night. He could have just grabbed a bite to eat, stayed at a hotel, and then left. But this guy's got to be a hard ass and gives him a tough time, arrests him, and gives him all this crap.
He arrested him because he didn't want him there, and he drove him out of town. If Rambo was smart, he would have just kept walking. He wouldn't have been in all this mess. But I understand why he did it.
Right.
And I'm sure he didn't give a shit about anything at that point.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, First Blood is I'm actually kind of interested to see what your number one is going to be, but we might as well get to my number 2 because I know. See, I'm trying to think of my collection upstairs too while I'm looking at this because I'm kind of. Well, I'm not. I am kind of making this up as I go along, but it's only based on my when I look at the title and I think, oh yeah, that's definitely one of the best. Because, I mean, that's really how it works for me. And you already said Police Story, so I'm not gonna, and all 3 of them too. So it's really tough. I'm trying to think. Number 2. I'm gonna have to go with. See, there's a lot that are like. There are a lot that I like that are like adventures. There are a lot that are like sci-fis, and I really want to break it down to like just a pure action movie. And you know what? I guess I would have to say that Taken would be my number 2. And I think Taken was the first one that you mentioned.
It's my number 10.
It was your... Oh, yeah, that was the first one that you mentioned was Taken, was your number 10. And like I said already, Taken is just one of those movies for me that really kind of... It changed, like, what Die Hard did for action movies. I mean, it didn't really change much as it did, like, Die Hard and Batman did, but definitely... it definitely really made an impression on me that lasted for quite a few years. I definitely will say that Taken is definitely my number 2. And I've already said a lot about it in the beginning of this, so I'm not going to get too crazy into detail. So we're just going to move right along to your number 1. I'm excited for this.
All right, my number 1. Well, my number 1 you've already said.
Really?
It was Commando.
Really?
One of my favorite movies ever. But since it's already been mentioned, I want to say I had an honorable mention.
Oh, you did?
Which was also my number 1.
Oh, really?
And that is Bloodsport.
Oh, isn't that...
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, JCVD.
Just, I have watched this movie back to back multiple times.
Really?
Yeah. It's so good. He's so young, so muscular, so flexible. He's up in the mountains above Hong Kong doing splits, and that's like half of the movie. And it's so good. His acting is obviously not great, and it never improved. But
no, not at all.
Watching him beat people up for an hour and a half is perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not 2.5 hours long, so it's bearable to that point. Even if you don't like his acting, it's not 2 hours of it.
There's a big dude and then another little Asian dude. Okay, USA! That kind of shit is great.
Bloodsport. That's fun.
I love it. And Forrest Whitaker is in it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And they have these weird taser guns. Look like Star Wars phasers, kind of.
Really?
Yeah. That's awful, but it's a great movie.
Nice. All right.
All right. What's your number 1?
You got your number 1, which was Commando, but you replaced it with your honorable mention, Bloodsport. My number 1, I think, it's probably one of the best action movies, and it's just so... I don't even know how to put it in words, but The Mask of Zorro is my number 1.
I want to get up and leave right now.
Seriously?
Is the one with Antonio Banderas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anthony Hopkins. The Mask of Zorro, it is one of the best written action movies, at least that is outside of the genre of like science fiction and superhero and crap like that.
How is this number 1?
Because
this is garbage.
How?
I call fucking blasphemy here. This is garbage.
Why? What were you expecting?
I wasn't expecting anything but this.
I
was
honestly,
expecting not this. I guess you could say that.
Not this. Well,
how was this number 1 and not number 8 on your list? I understand if you like it, but number 1, best action movie of all time.
I could watch this movie front to back, just like you could Bloodsport. Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins, they're great. It's kind of a coming of age story, and it's The villain is awesome. It's just the whole.
Well, maybe I need to rewatch it then, because I didn't. I've seen this twice maybe, and both times it was just forgettable.
I just love. Just the characters are great. I mean, the sequel was bad. Like the Legend of Zorro was bad. Like no doubt, undoubtedly admit that I did not like that one, and the first one will always be the best one. And it's one of those cases where it's like, yeah, it's the first one. It should have just ended with the first one. It's great. I love that movie. It's fantastic. It's extremely well written, well acted, well directed. And it's a fun movie to watch. It's generally, aside from, most other action movies where it's kind of more, I don't want to say it's more action oriented. It's just, it has all of the elements of a good movie, and then it has that action element that works really well with the story, and I love it. I could watch it if it was on. I could watch it at any point. I could just put it on, listen to it in the background even while I work. All around 100% a great movie. And that's my top 10. That's our top 10 greatest action movies of all time. Let us know what you think and what your top 10 greatest action movies are in the comments below.
Hold on. Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Go for it.
Do you have any?
I do not at the moment.
Roadhouse.
There you go.
Classic Patrick Swayze.
Nice.
Basically anything with Patrick Swayze. I throw Dirty Dancing up there too as one of them.
Okay.
And I don't really consider James Bond films to be action movies, because
really?
the better ones don't really have much action in them.
Yeah.
But On Her Majesty's Secret Service, good action in that one.
Okay. I see.
Yep. 2 honorable mentions.
All right. 2 honorable mentions for me. All right. Yeah, wow. I really got to think of these, because I mentioned The Fugitive. I guess if we're going to talk about honorable mentions, I'm going to start with Speed.
Sure.
I think that's a great movie.
Yep.
I love the concept. And I mean, I like Keanu Reeves in general. So
yeah.
I mean, no matter what you think of his option.
Well, don't forget he's also taller than Anthony Hopkins.
Right. And
that's not Anthony Hopkins. That's who the hell is the bad guy? What's his name?
He died recently. Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Yeah.
Yeah, he died a couple years ago, I think.
He did. Fucking Anthony Hopkins.
And you know what? I just thought of one that I think I'm going to have to replace for my number one and put Mask of Zorro as an honorable mention.
Okay, that's a little better.
Because
I could swallow that one.
I just remembered the one movie that I think since it came out, deserves the number one spot. So for those of you who are already commenting, telling me that the Mask of Zorro is a shitty choice,
good job.
I replace it here and there, or right now, with John Wick. John Wick.
Sure. It was good.
I think that was one of the first action movies that I got more emotionally invested in than I have in any other movie, like Taken and stuff like that. Like Taken, I got emotionally invested in, but it was kind of like you were more rooting for Liam Neeson to win in the end. But this movie set up, the setup for John Wick was so fucking good. Like, I remember, because like they had the whole thing where Keanu Reeves' wife dies. And spoilers, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen it, it came out last year. You should have seen it by now.
She dies before the movie even starts, so it's not a spoiler.
I thought there was like a flashback or some crap like that you see, but she leaves him this dog when she dies, and it's touching. And he's got his badass car. I forgot what it was. It was a Mustang, wasn't it?
It was a Mustang in the beginning.
It was like a 65, 66.
I don't remember exactly.
It was a cool looking car, to say the least. The bastard just gets mugged by a bunch of fucking punks.
Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, it gets mugged by Theon Greyjoy.
Russian Theon Greyjoy.
Poor Theon just gets completely fucked over in everything that he's in. And But of course, they show up in his car. They killed his dog, and they bring it to John Leguizamo or whatever the fuck his name is, and he tells him he already like he's got that look on his face like, oh no, and of course he punches Theon in the face because he knows exactly what the kid's done. His dad calls him up, big mafia boss.
Hold on, are you just going to explain the entire movie, just scene
I'm
for
explaining
scene?
the setup, which is why it's so good, because he's like,
yeah, he ends up killing the guy's dog that the wife left. That's it. That's all.
That's what he did. I mean, like, he calls the mafia boss, who's like gonna give the guy shit for striking his son. He's like, yeah, I did hit him for a good reason, because he killed John Wick's dog and took his car. And the reaction to the guy was just priceless, because then he, instead of being all like pissed off, he's like, oh. And that was just like, uh-oh, what do you do? Because you don't know anything about this guy at this point. So John Wick is my number one. And I move my Mask of Zorro to my runners-up. Along with, did I already say another one? I don't know if... Oh, I said Speed. So
Hold
Speed
on.
and
Let me
Mask of
say this
Zorro.
about John Wick. The first time I watched it, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like, everything you said I thought was perfect. I watched a little bit of it again, and it did not do it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's just because, like, it's kind of one of those things where if you experience it once, you've experienced it for the last time, and then nothing's really... Because it's kind of like one of those movies where you kind of... When you don't already know all the details up front.
Plus, I wish he had died at the end.
I know, I actually did too. I agree with that. If
when
he
they
had
started
died,
it off and he's basically dead, okay, good. So we know that it's one movie. We're not going to see John Wick 6.
right? Yeah, exactly. Like it's come full circle. He's gotten his revenge. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it fits perfectly as its own story.
And it should have been that way, but we all know because it probably did well enough. It's gonna get a sequel,
Of course.
which is probably going to be lame.
Yeah, I'm not going to see it.
I'm betting on it being lame right now. So yeah, folks, that's our top 10 greatest action movies of all time.
Top 20 greatest action movies
Top
of
20.
all time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do another 10.
Well, we basically did 10. We
Yeah,
only overlapped, twice? So,
yeah, something like that. It was like Commando and Taken.
yeah.
So yeah, top 10, top 20, top 20 greatest action movies of all time.
Top, who gives a shit what the number is? They're the top. They're the best. What we say counts. What you think doesn't count.
If you guys agree with us, feel free to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes every other week or so.
Every day.
And
new updates every day. Promised.
Oh, okay.
Scout's honor.
And feel free to comment your top 10 favorite action movies of all time.
Yeah, but don't make it as long as we did, because I'm not going to read that stuff.
Yeah, we don't need to.
To be honest, I'm probably not going to read any of what.
I mean, if you guys took the time to watch this hour-long episode, then kudos to you guys.
Yeah, kudos to you if you stuck all the way through.
So, power to you guys. You're the guys that we're making these podcasts for. So, adios, folks.
Bye
See you
now.
next time.